It's a big business, and for a few household names who compete in sports with major sponsorships, the rewards can be huge. But for athletes involved in lesser-known sports, pursuing an Olympic dream can be a lonely, bank-breaking road. The Olympics generate billions of dollars, but the majority of those who make it all happen are struggling to make ends meet, and the US government won't pitch in. We're less than 100 days from the Winter Olympics in Milan. And as always, the United States hopes to come home with the highest medal count. But away from the cheers and the applause, there is a story of genuine struggle happening with American Olympic athletes. Right now, I'm on my way to learn about an Olympic sport that doesn't get a lot of exposure: speed skating. And while I'm there, we hope to find out what it takes to become an Olympic medalist. Speed skating has been part of every Winter Olympics since the first one in 1924. Athletes race on ice skates at speeds of up to 40 miles per hour. Key techniques include a low aerodynamic stance and precise blade control. US speed skating has produced more Olympic medals than any other sport in the Winter Olympic history. I'm catching up with one of the sport's upcoming stars.
My name is Anastasia. I'm 9 years old and I do speed skating.
Why do you like speed skating?
I like speed skating because ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to go fast on my ice skates, but they were figure skates, so I just try to move my feet fast. My coach switched me to hockey skates so that I could learn to put more pressure into my push, but I really didn't want to just play the hockey game. I wanted to go fast, so I chose speed skating.
Anastasia Chan has been speed skating for 2 years. Coaches very quickly saw something special in her and advised her parents to increase her training and help develop her skills. How does speed skating make you feel?
It makes me feel good, like when I put pressure into my push and then I just kind of glide.
Anastasia skates probably 5 to 6 days a week. On average, 3 hours a day are the practices. One day a week is dry land only, so it's maybe an hour and a half. And then we commute from DC, so depending on the time of the day, it could range from over an hour to 40 minutes to get up here.
Life for the Chan family has changed drastically over the last year. Early mornings, late night training, and thousands of dollars spent on travel, equipment, and training. Their lives now revolve around Anastasia's skating schedule.
She loves doing it, and we want to give her the opportunities that if she's willing to work hard for it, that we're not going to be a barrier to what she wants to do. The cost of the practices, some private lessons, the skates, the blades, the equipment, everything adds up. And she's still growing, so every year, new boots, probably new blades every year.
I want to compete in the Olympics.
Anastasia is a member of the Potomac Speed Skating Club in Maryland. It's widely regarded as one of the top clubs in America, and both coaches boast Olympic medals of their own. The club is preparing several hopeful athletes for the Milan Winter Olympics next year. What's it like having your daughter in such a competitive program like that?
I think it's good because she has people to look up to and see, if you work hard, you can get to the highest levels of the sport. And it's not something that is out of reach.
Do you feel like, this goal of going to the Olympics, how do you think that that's going to help shape her childhood as she's growing up?
I mean, she's a hard worker just innately, so it's something that the drive comes within her. We tell her, we're like on the other side of the spectrum where we tell her just to have fun because she puts a lot of pressure on herself to do well. So we want her to have fun and do as much as she would want to do. We understand that the Olympics is, the high aspiration, and if she achieves that, that's great. If not, this sport also teaches her good discipline, gives her, like a good social network to just have around her. So I think it teaches you a lot of different things.
Is there anything in particular you're working on right now as a speed skater, like a form you're trying to get better at or something?
Well, I'm trying to, when I'm racing, I get like a little nervous, so then I kind of run on ice. So I'm trying to put more pressure into my push instead of like running.
The team's training involves practicing on ice and dry land. Today, I'm coming along to watch the kids prepare for a race next weekend in Milwaukee.
There's a lot of pressure on the athletes. Obviously, it depends on the sport, but in short track right now, qualifying for the Olympic team, that's just step one. You still need to qualify spots at the World Cup qualifiers to participate. So you can make the Olympic team, but if you don't qualify enough spots, you don't race at the Olympics. I'm John Henry Kruger. I was an Olympic medalist in the 2018 Winter Games and the 2022 Winter Olympic Games. So I grew up in an ice rink due to my mother being a figure skating coach, a lot of hours watching her teach her students. And we were always fascinated with ice sports because me and my older brother didn't enjoy being outside in the heat. So we enjoyed watching hockey, but we didn't want to play it, and figure skating wasn't really our interest either. So short track speed skating was like that great happy medium where we got to be competitive and go fast and race. So it's a long journey. I mean, for the beginning years, you're just you spend a lot of time in your local teams developing your fundamentals and basics for the sport. Short track speed skating is a very niche sport. It has you assume a very unnatural position. You're down low, pushing to the side. It takes a long time to actually get, fast and get to an accomplished level.
Everything leading up to the Olympics is completely self-funded. Once you make the Olympics, your travel expenses are paid for, but that means years of investments by athletes and their families. The athlete won't make money from the Olympics unless they win a medal or get sponsorships from outside the United States Olympic and Paralympic committees. In the United States, U.S. Olympic athletes and their sport federations are not federally funded.
What does the U.S. look like compared to other countries for financial support for the athletes?
I think in the U.S. what happens is the main sponsors are mom and dad. That's how it was for me when I was an athlete. So you do limit the talent pool by, if you have parents that can't fund an athlete's journey, then maybe they can't participate. So that is something that does hurt the sport in the short term and the long term, because really it's a numbers game. The more skaters you have, the more chance you have of finding that phenom skater that can get a medal at the Olympics.
Other countries like Canada, the Netherlands, and China federally fund their Olympians, taking a lot of the pressure off athletes. And this funding is translated into medals. In the Beijing Winter Olympics in 2022, China won a record-breaking 9 gold medals and a total of 15 medals overall. This placed them third in the gold medal tally, ahead of the United States. Their success was largely down to the performances in short track speed skating and figure skating.
There's many different avenues to receive funding. Like there's local city teams where athletes can get funding. I think also in other countries it's a bit easier to get a sponsorship. It's really based on sports culture as well. In America, it's hard to sell short track because not only is it so niche, but the equipment can tend to be expensive.
You competed for the U.S. and for Hungary. What was your decision making in switching over to the Hungarian team?
I just couldn't really get any tangible or meaningful funding level, or really any type of like guarantee for funding for the future. And also when you're 22, 23, you don't want to be living off of mom and dad. You're starting to get at the age where you want to leave the nest a little bit and start to be more independent. And it was putting a real financial struggle on my parents, and it's hard because my parents never guilted me or, tried to share how much it was a struggle on them, but you can tell when you're on the phone with them or when you visit home that it's definitely, making their life harder. So that was a big motivating factor for me too. It was time for me to figure it out on my own.
And I think a lot of people would be surprised that the U.S. federally doesn't fund a lot of these athletes.
When I was in Hungary, at 35, I receive a stipend from the Hungarian government until the day I die for receiving a medal for Hungary in the 2022 games. And when I've spoken to Hungarian people or fans about it, the way they see it as is you sacrifice a big portion of your life. Maybe you delayed school, or maybe you didn't get to live the normal life that other people live. So we kind of see it as like a thank you, and also like it gives the athlete some flexibility and room to grow after their skating career is over.
In recent years, the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee have increased efforts to support athletes, including awarding $1.3 million in tuition grants in 2023 and covering insurance premiums for its Olympians and Paralympians.
The unnatural and unorthodox position of short track speed skating. Something we teach our beginners or people that are new to the sport is just our 1-2-3 position. And we start down here. This is the basic skating position. We call it basic form.
Right.
You want to make sure you're not on your toes and that your chest isn't coming up. So, okay. I mean, you're in boots, so it's
Okay,
a little
sure.
bit harder, but and then position 1 is when we push our foot out to the side, imitating a skating push. And then we'll transfer to position 2. And then we'll go back to the original position.
Okay.
And we'll do that for minutes at a time on both legs. So just, that is incredibly hard to do. Yeah, it's not easy.
The question of federally funding U.S. Olympians is a recurring debate, with arguments for and against. Supporters argue that federal funding would provide financial stability for athletes who currently rely on private donations, sponsorships, and personal savings, and would align the U.S. with other nations that provide government support. Opponents of federal funding, however, raise concerns about potential government control and interference, as well as the potential for misallocation of public funds. Without federal funding, college sports offer the critical pathway to the Olympics for most athletes. Top-performing schools provide elite training and competition, and around 75% of U.S. Olympians have a collegiate background. But the collegiate system is now under threat. The proposed SCORE Act would require colleges to maintain only 16 varsity teams, and that would mean schools could trim down sports they offer and focus on the big commercial ones, like basketball and soccer, cutting Olympic sport programs altogether. Christine Brown is a leading U.S. attorney defending the rights of elite athletes. She believes the SCORE Act needs strict federal regulation.
We're talking 16 when we know that football, basketball, many of the men's sports that do have traction and that do generate revenue are going to be at the top of that list. So it does trim down what Olympic sport offerings there might be for students who attend college. So that's probably one of the most important things about the SCORE Act. To me, from where I sit, whatever the SCORE Act is going to be, we as a country have to make sure that the SCORE Act has someone who's the gatekeeper, who is regulating what is happening. And in my mind, that should be it should be a part of the federal government, making sure that institutions are complying with the rules and regulations, and that there is some equity to how money is invested in each of the sports.
Christine is fighting for college sports funding to be distributed more equally among all sports.
There's a very significant imbalance of the sports in the United States that are funded in our colleges, and the number one sport that is funded is football, and along with that is men's basketball.
The U.S. has tried to address the disparity through federal law with Title IX, which requires that both male and female athletes, regardless of their sport, be treated equally.
if we did even have a fraction of the federal funding that other countries put into their athletes, imagine how much more dominant we could be, given how our athletes perform already. They do it with basically no support, even a fraction of what other countries get. I think it is about the government reassigning a percentage of the budgeting, and like I said earlier, it doesn't have to be a significant amount. I think if each Olympian were to receive, a 0.3 0.3%. I wrote in a newsletter that I did that 0.3% of the annual U.S. defense budget, if that could be assigned to help subsidize Olympic athletes through college, it would make a significant difference. And I think it can be distributed equally.
Christine believes that Olympic athletes provide a much needed service for the United States.
I think what athletes do for our country as part of the Olympics is as important as anybody else who provides a service to our country. I do believe they're providing a service, and I do believe that what they have achieved is something that not all of us can achieve. And they are using those skills and using those talents, and they are committing to us as citizens of the United States that I am going to represent all of us with the talent I have, and I'm using it in the way that I can. And the same goes for the military, for any other arm of our federal government, that individuals who have skills and who have developed experience in certain areas. And the only difference is that our military is fully funded. And but if I walked into a restaurant and I saw a veteran and I saw an Olympian, I would thank them both for their service. And to me, it would be equal.
Camden Levensmore is a swimmer at Denison University in Ohio. He is one athlete who could be directly impacted by the changes in college sports funding allocations.
I've qualified for U.S. Nationals for the junior level. I'm an All-American. I have two-time All-American in the events that I do, which means I'm top 100 in the country. And I'm now swimming for Denison, which is a powerhouse of a Division III program. My goal, pretty far-fetched, is to obviously make it to the Olympic level. I think anybody that wants to make it thinks it's far-fetched, and they defy the odds and they do it anyways. But I also understand incrementalism, one step at a time. We train really intensely, multiple practices every day, all week, thousands of yards every day, daily for months. It's very taxing, very tiring, but it's all worth it.
Despite being one of the lucky athletes to be on scholarship, Cam still struggles to pay for all the costs associated with his sports and for everyday life.
I go to a very expensive college, and I get a lot of scholarship, which makes it possible, but even then, it's pretty difficult. My parents have well-paying jobs, but my mom has been working 2 part-time jobs on top of her full-time job for the last couple of years. Most of high school, I worked 2 or 3 different jobs at any given time, on top of training and schoolwork. And I'm definitely coming back home over the summer and getting 2 jobs again. And I've loved everywhere that I've worked, but it's stressful, and it's making ends meet.
Swimming generates money for the Olympics through a combination of factors, including revenues from global broadcast rights and sponsorships, with swimming getting a higher than average slice due to its viewership. Most swimmers, unless they are household names like Michael Phelps or Katie Ledecky, do not earn a huge amount of money in sponsorship deals. So although swimming is a crowd favorite at the games, the earning potential is far lower than many of the team sports like soccer.
This is me on my way to Thursday morning practice. It's about 5 a.m. on the dot right now. A little later than I wanted to be getting out of my room. I love this walk. It's just, campus is so beautiful. There's the chapel over there, the big bright one. Probably my favorite building to look at. It's so bright. Yeah, Thursdays are probably my favorite days. Thursdays and Mondays. For practice in the morning, we have our 5 a.m. lift, and then oh, there's a deer right there. Hi, buddy. Those things are everywhere here. Lift into a 1 hour lift into a 1 hour swim. And then after that, I get to go eat breakfast. But for fueling before, I got myself liquid IV.
In the United States, one survey found that 26.5% of athletes bound for the Olympic Games earn less than $15,000 per year. A congressionally appointed commission on the state of the U.S. Olympics and Paralympics delivered a report in 2024. Following more than 3,000 interviews, it was found that it is a system that has failed athletes. The commission outlines how Olympic executives are paid in the millions of dollars, while many athletes are in poverty as they pursue their athletic aspirations. The report also heard from athletes who were sleeping in their cars and one who lived on food stamps. So what is the solution? In March this year, it was announced that a record $100 million would be donated to fund $100,000 payouts and matching life insurance benefits for anyone who earns a spot on the U.S. Olympic team, starting with the Winter Olympics in Milan next year. The donation to the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Foundation is from Ross Stevens, the founder and CEO of Stone Ridge Holdings Group. The group will pay a $100,000 grant divided over 4 years to every U.S. Olympian. That money can be used for any purpose and can be accessed 20 years after their qualifying Olympics or once they reach 45, whichever comes later.
Just think of the first two sets as a warm-up. All right.
Back in Maryland, and the Potomac speed skaters are training into the night. They rely on the time they can access the ice rink, and that can mean training sessions going well into the night, even on school days.
6, 7.
And I think the talent pool of the athletes in the U.S. is exceptionally high, and that's pretty much what carries us. I think with more funding, we would have a lot more Olympic superstars. But unfortunately, with talented athletes, they're going to get pulled in by sports with more robust professional programs like basketball, football, baseball in the U.S. So what we have for the Olympic sports is just talented and very athletic kids that have the dream of one day representing their country in the Olympics and hopefully winning a gold medal.
Simon Cho is the head coach at Potomac. He himself made the Vancouver Olympics in 2010 and came home with a bronze medal.
The most successful programs in the world, athletically, no matter what sport you compete in, it comes down to the investment. Sometimes federations get lucky by getting a talented pool of athletes, but at the end of the day, you need, a robust training facility. You just need really the financial support to get there.
Simon says that the money, such as the donation from the hedge fund, is a good start, but sports need more investment from the grassroots level.
Due to, inflation, that money isn't going to carry the same weight 20 years after this person gets it. I understand maybe it's part of like some type of pension program, and it's certainly better than nothing, but for athletes that are competing, they need the money to support their training now. Getting it in 20 years is not going to help fund their dreams. We live in the U.S. where we're used to guys like Michael Phelps winning 8 gold medals in one Olympics. So for the U.S., it's a lot tougher because we're such a gold or nothing country. For the U.S., it's winner takes all. Yeah. So it's, you win gold, you're king. If you win silver, bronze, they've seen that so many times that they're almost desensitized to it. And even for gold, for that matter, Americans are desensitized to the idea of an Olympic gold medalist. It's incredibly difficult, but we have American athletes do that all the time. So it creates, environment where it's like, if you want sponsorship money, it's got to be gold. As difficult and painful it is to get into those positions, just when you're in shape and you're just gliding around the ice at that sort of speed, it really does feel like you're flying.
There is no doubt that sports benefit kids and adults. It improves physical health, boosts mental well-being, and develops essential life skills. Sports require commitment and investment, and reaching the top level is something that very few are capable of. The International Olympic Committee generates billions in dollars of revenue through media rights and sponsorships. But the people who make these games happen, the athletes, are often living in financial distress. Many are unable to afford food, housing, or medical care. And many of the big-name athletes, the household names, are living at or below the poverty line. So the question is, are the Olympics really a fair game?